Welcome back to Talk It Out Tuesday. We have spent 7 weeks clearing out the family fraud, but today we have to look at the filter you are using to view the rest of the world. Have you ever met someone, a partner, a friend, or even a boss, and felt an immediate intense spark? That lightning bolt connection that feels like fate? I hate to be the one to tell you this, but for a cycle breaker, the spark is often just your nervous system recognizing a familiar brand of chaos. So tonight, we're talking about the toxicity filter. We are breaking down why your body tells you that your peace is boring, and why you keep mistaking a racing heart for chemistry when it's actually just anxiety. It's time to recalibrate your compass. But first, I want to tell you about a woman I know. Let's just call her Cynthia. Cynthia grew up in a house where she had to be a mirror. She had to perform to be loved. Peace in her house meant the storm was coming. Noise meant she was needed. As an adult, Cynthia met a man. On her first date, the chemistry was off the charts. He was intense. He was slightly inconsistent, and he challenged her in a way that made her heart race. She told her friends, "He's the one. I've never felt this much electricity with anyone." But let's look at the electricity through the toxicity filter. The electricity wasn't love. It was her nervous system preparing for a fight she already knew how to win. Her heart was racing because she was emotionally unavailable, just like her father. She felt drawn to him because her subconscious said, "Finally, a puzzle I know how to solve." Cynthia wasn't falling in love. She was falling in a familiar pattern. She mistook the high of this chase for the peace of a partnership. When she eventually met a man who was consistent, kind, and emotionally available, she called him boring. She didn't have chemistry with him because her body didn't recognize peace as a valid form of connection. To Cynthia, if it didn't hurt, it wasn't real. So, let's look at some of these things and how they filter and bleed into your whole life. So let's start with the workplace. This is one of the high functioning traps. By looking at your career, a lot of you call yourselves overachievers or hustlers. But if we look through the toxicity filter, we might just see a high functioning trauma response. Do you find yourself drawn to sinking ship companies? Do you only feel value when you're the only one who can put out the fire? That's the fixer role from your childhood, just wearing a blazer and carrying a laptop. You aren't looking for a career. You're looking for a crisis because normal feels like you aren't needed. If there isn't a fire to put out, you start feeling invisible. You mistake a toxic, high-stress work environment for ambition because your nervous system is addicted to the adrenaline of being the hero. If a job is stable, supportive, and 9 to 5, you call it dead end. No, Anchor Team, it's not a dead end. It's just called peace. And you don't know what to do with your hands when they aren't trembling. So now let's go to our friendships. The crisis concierge. Check your inner circle. Do you have friends who only call you when their world is ending? The ones who suck the air out of the room with their drama, but are nowhere to be found when you have a win? You tell yourself you're loyal or the strong friend, but your toxicity filter is actually filtering out healthy, reciprocal people because they are boring. You're unconsciously selecting friends who allow you to stay in your trash can or fire extinguisher roles. You feel a spark of connection with people who have high needs because it feels like home. A friend who actually respects your boundaries feels cold to you. A friend who doesn't have weekly catastrophes feels superficial to you. You've been trained to believe that deep connection requires deep suffering. If there's no trauma bonding, you think there's no friendship. That's not loyalty. That's a codependency loop. So how do we fight the war inside yourself? So let's actually think about this. Let's finally look at how you treat you. When things are going well, when the bills are paid, the kids are quiet, and the business is humming, do you start to feel an itch? Do you start picking a fight with your partner? Do you start overanalyzing a comment a coworker made 3 days ago? That is your brain trying to manufacture the chemistry of chaos because it doesn't trust the silence. You lived in a state of emergency for so long that your body thinks your absence of a threat is the threat. So let me say that again. You lived in a state of emergency for so long that your body thinks the absence of a threat is actually the threat. You are filtering out your own joy because it feels fake. You've been conditioned to believe that other shoe is always about to drop. So you drop it yourself just to get the anxiety over with. You're mistaking self-sabotage for intuition. You aren't sensing trouble. You're creating it to feel normal. So how do we recalibrate the compass inside of us? It takes actually 3 easy steps to filter in the peace. First, what we're going to do, we're going to check the pulse. When you feel that spark, ask yourself, is this excitement or is this just a flinch response? Then we're going to redefine boring. Start realizing that boring is actually just safety. Consistency isn't a lack of passion, it's the foundation for it. And number 3, the 24-hour rule. When someone triggers that intense need to connect, wait 24 hours. Let that adrenaline settle so you can see the person behind the pattern. Anchor team, remember, chaos is a drug. And like any drug, with withdrawal is painful. But you deserve a life that doesn't keep you in a state of emergency. If you realize tonight that your type is actually just your trauma, we need to talk deeper. Join me in the vault this Friday at midnight. Remember, it's a double feature. We're going after dark to talk about the identity crisis and the addiction to chaos that keeps us stuck in the loop. Like, share, subscribe to keep the sanctuary growing. The spark was a lie, but the peace is real. I'm Kalia Chevonne, and this has been Talk It Out Tuesday. Be true to you.